Righty. There are a few people running late, no doubt, but we'll respect everyone's time. Everyone's turned up on time. So first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on this call today. It's going to be a value-packed webinar. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Ben Hawkey. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Real Growth. We're a marketing agency that works with real estate agents, helping them to build their database. I'm also proud co-founder of a company called Nurture, which is a software tool that helps agents nurture their database and convert their leads into listings. And so today I'm excited because what we're going to cover is we're going to cover one, how we can prospect and build a database as a new agent. Two, common prospecting mistakes some agents are making. Three, how to build trust and relationships with homeowners on your database. How to remain top of mind and become the agent of choice. We'll touch on technology and tools that you can be using that you can help bring in more business. And then we'll touch briefly at the end on a bit of a bonus that we're going to give to everyone who stays right to the end. And so there's no better person really to join me on this call than Diego. Diego, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Ben. Much appreciated. Always a pleasure.
Always. Hey, so for those who might not be familiar with Diego, I'm sure many of you are, and that's why you're on the webinar today. But today, Diego has not only New Zealand's #1 real estate agent, according to Rate My Agent, for the last 4 years, but he's a #3 for hard courts internationally. Diego, you spoke at ARIC last year, and you boast an impressive history of selling over 500 properties in the last 2 years. So definitely a very well-qualified person to be jumping on this call and sharing your insights. I thought before we dive into it, do you mind just briefly, Diego, sharing a bit about your real estate journey to date? When did you first get started, and when did you start to really see success and growth in the business?
Yeah, for sure. So I started real estate in 2016. That was maybe about 6 months after I bought my first property at the end of 2015. And I had a very bad experience with the agents. I needed a change in my career, and I thought I could have done a much better job. And just like a lot of people that find there is a gap in the market, or there was a gap in the market for me, I got into real estate and started literally from the bottom up, not knowing a single person. Obviously, I'm not from New Zealand, but even where I bought my house, I didn't know a single person, and I had to really start from, as I said, the bottom up. And, 101 real estate, all of the strategies that we're probably going to mention in a bit, I did them extensively, and I did them until I became successful. Now, I started getting some success probably in... well, depending what you measure as success, right? But, the first year I didn't make much money at all. It was the second year that I had a goal, by the way, Ben, to make $100,000 a year. That was my goal. I never, a six-figure salary, back then, 8 or 9 years ago, I was much younger, and making six figures was the goal that I always aspired to. So I achieved that in my second year. And I think it was around the middle to the end of the second year in real estate when I invested in a PA and started getting an associate and actually started creating the system and processes, although very much premature at those stages compared to where we are now. Anyway, those system and processes allowed me to sort of grow exponentially and sort of either double or triple my business every year until last year. Of course, last year was the most challenging year in real estate, and it was hard to double from selling 300 houses the year before. But nevertheless, for the first 7 years, I either double or triple.
Amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. And so maybe if we could start, kind of take yourself back to those early days, or couple of years in, what did you find for you were some of the most effective prospecting strategies that would allow you to not only get some quick wins, like the low-hanging fruit? What was some low-hanging fruit for getting those listings? And then what were some of those other strategies that you were using to build the pipeline of future business?
Yeah, for sure. So I was given some advice from one of my managers that said, whatever strategy you're going to implement to get business, and you should always have 10 plus strategies, where it could be door knocking, fly dropping, whatever that might be. You stick to that particular strategy until you have got a success, until you got a listing out of the strategy. And then you revise it and say, well, it took me 16 months to get a listing out of the strategy, and I got 3 other listings from another strategy. Maybe I should put my energy onto that. So I've literally, you name it, I did it. Every single strategy I could think of, I did until I got a listing. Now, at the very start, the low-hanging fruit, I use the word lucky. I don't know if that's lucky or not, but I was lucky to start in a market that was a down market. And when we all know, as we're just experiencing the very tough 20 months of a down market, when the market is coming down, listings don't sell. So my main strategy, low-hanging fruits, was going to find properties that either couldn't sell and came off the market, or they were on the market for over 90 days. So that was my bread and butter. That's how I got a very good market share very fast. But of course, that is short term, because when the market turns, everything sells. So if you're only able to get those kind of listings, you can only do that in a down market. But it's why anyone that started in the last year, 2 years, and is able to stick till now is going to benefit massively, because those strategy give you the basic. But, if I look backwards now, I wish I started doing more of my database building, which no doubt we'll be talking in a minute. And the long term, the high-hanging fruit trees kind of strategies. But when I started, I had no money. I had no plan B. I had a mortgage, kid on the way. So all the right ingredients for the perfect recipe of becoming successful, because I had no other choice.
And so, okay, so in the downward market, you're using, that opportunity there. But what talked about once before, door knocking, and the process that you took was quite different to a lot of other agents. You were door knocking with a purpose, and that was I think it was to build your database. I was just wondering whether you could briefly share maybe some of those strategies that you used there, and kind of how you kind of used a different approach than some other people.
The targeted door knocking is what it needs to be, because there are two kind of door knock. You can door knock for many different reasons, and I'll tell you what I did. But the classic pray and spray, or spray and pray strategy, that you door knock the street asking for an appraisal, I've never done. Well, I did that once or twice, and I realized that you get a lot of rejections because nobody wants to talk to an agent. So I took one of three strategies. Now, the one that gave me more fruition in terms of getting listings was the classic: I see you've been on the market for, 2.5 months. Have you received many offers from your agent? And you got to tread carefully, because obviously there is an agent's agreement in place, but the REA doesn't say that you cannot approach someone that is on the market, as long as you use your word carefully. And I always say, hey, look, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but Ben, you've been on the market for a few months. Before you extend your current listing with your agent, would you be open-minded for me to sit down with you for 10, 15 minutes and show you an alternative? Because in my opinion, a house on this street should have been sold by now, because although the market is challenging, properties are still selling, and I can show you how to do that. Would you be open-minded for me to come back next week before you extend your listing agreement? So that's an easy one. They're on the market. They obviously want to sell, because otherwise they would have pulled it off the market. Okay, so that's the one that can create some tension against between agents, right? But if you play your cards right and you're actually not aggressive and you use certain words, you're fine for the REA. Trust me, because I've got complaints, and the REA did say that I did nothing wrong. So that's very important to keep in mind. The second strategy is redrawn listings. They was on the market, they're no longer on the market, and with that, the script is very similar. Knock, knock. Hey, Ben, it's Diego from Harcourts. I see that you were on the market for 90 days. Now, during those 90 days, did you receive many offers? I always open with that, because I want to ask a question and gauge the response. Normally, they say no or not good enough. And the only thing I would say at that point, and if you got a pen and paper or you're taking notes, write this down. If you receive a good offer tomorrow, would you consider it? And then shut up. Let them say whatever they want to say, get information, details, contact number or an email address, and say, hey, look, I see you're busy. I'm actually on the way to an appointment. I'll follow up tomorrow to give you an indication of what similar property have sold. Have a lovely evening. Now, once you leave, they close the door, that's the seed that's planted in the head. No doubt they will think about it that night. If they don't want to come on the market, they will not. But if they got some sort of thinking behind, hey, maybe we would consider an offer, they would like to hear from you again. So that was probably most likely, with the first strategy, the most successful strategy that allowed me to get into the living area, talking to mom and dad or whoever owns the property. Okay. Yeah. The third strategy is not pray and spray or spray and pray, whichever way you want to say it, but it's a little bit more generic. Now, there is a property coming on the market or came on the market. Doesn't matter if it's your agency or another agency. Knock, knock. Hey, Ben, number 73 just came on the market with Ray White. Would it be helpful if I let you know how much is sold once it's sold, how much is sold for once it's sold? Normally they, if you own a house, not many people would say, no, I don't care. But the whole point of that is that obviously you want to get the details and follow up as soon as it's sold. Now, then you could do the just sold ones as soon as they sell. Hey, Ben, knock, knock. I know you say you weren't interested to know how much the property sold, but I'm just doing my job. Number 73 is finally sold. Although Ray White took a little bit to sell, but nevertheless, I think they got a good result. It sold for $1,050,000. Were you expecting a price like that? Always ask a question, right? And the whole point of those conversations is to get an anchor or some sort of connection for you then to organize a digital appraisal, go to see the house, whatever that might be. But if you give them something before you ask something, you plant a seed in the head, or you give them an opportunity for them to wanting to know what something will sell for or has sold for, those are the best way to door knock.
And it sounds like, this door knocking strategy could be also used in some situations as an SMS strategy, a text message strategy, as a phone call strategy, or even a digital strategy potentially as well.
Absolutely. I don't door knock anymore. Now I just do the digital SMS strategies because I don't have the time to door knock, and I'm in a position that luckily I don't have to door knock anymore. But I door knock for 5 years, 5 days a week without a failure. And at the start, you implement the best of both worlds. Obviously, technology evolves, and agents need to adapt technology while still doing the 101 basics real estate techniques.
And so, 100%. And so, I guess you've seen agents come and go over these last 9 years. Not quite 9 years, 7 or 8 years now. And
yeah, something like that.
You've got your own team as well. Where have you seen, I guess, agents kind of make mistakes in regards to prospecting? Like, just if anything just comes to mind?
They just don't do it. It's simple. It's easy to get a junior agent, open the calendar, calendarize the door knocking Monday to Friday, calendarize the cold calling. But agents, and this is just generically speaking, regardless, my team is better than most, but the reality is that it's even if you get a schedule in your calendar, then you got to do it. And the biggest excuses I get is I was waiting, I got busy, I had this, I had that. Now, if you're serious about this business and you do the basics of real estate, I don't want to say real estate is easy, but if you do what you're supposed to do, you will become successful. It might take you 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but eventually you will get the traction to become an attraction agent. So the biggest mistake is not that people do the wrong thing. It's just they don't do it. It's simple.
Yeah. Or consistently.
Consistency as well. They don't knock for a few weeks, they get not much result and they give up. And it's like, well, the result could have come on the next knock.
Yeah. So we talked about building the database. What are you currently doing now to build, just briefly, not we have to dive too deep into this, but what are you currently doing now to fill that pipeline with new leads? And, is it existing listings, obviously picking up a lot of data through your existing listings?
Yes, it's a combination of everything and anything. Anyone that I know, the names, their address, their phone number, and their email address goes into my database. Now, a lot of them is people that I might have sold a house into. Some of them will be people that do request digital appraisals. And if people have watched us talking before, you look after all of my leads digital appraisal strategy. So anyone that owns a property that gets in touch with me, I might do an appraisal with them, a proper in-person appraisal. It might be a digital one. It might be coming from, they might have a second property. They all go in my database. So my job is to expand and make the database bigger and bigger and service it at the same time. So I don't care where they live. I don't care where they're coming from, as long as I know where they live and I've got the full set of data, email address and phone number, they go into my database.
Yeah. And I was going to, before this webinar, yesterday I got told a stat, and it kind of leads me into this next thing, which was, now it might vary slightly, but this is the stat I saw. 6% of homeowners on your database will sell within the next 12 months. Maybe it's 4%, maybe it's slightly higher. But when I read that, I thought I've got to share this, and probably everyone's seen this as well anyway. But it just kind of highlights, wow, if you've got 200 people on your database, these 12 listing opportunities like sitting there right now, that can be sold. That's like 120K in commission, depending on where you are. In Auckland, it's more. But there's so much opportunity sitting in agents' databases right now. So my kind of question is, what should agents be doing, Diego, to make sure that they are engaging their database and they're going to convert those leads into listings over time. Like, what's the kind of what are you doing in your business right now to nurture those leads?
Well, what I do is and what I've been doing for a long time, since basically, a couple of years into it, they receive an email from me every month, and the email comes from my email address. So it doesn't have an option to subscribe. Now my PAs, that takes, half a day to do that, to email 2,000-3,000 people one by one, whatever information you give them, the lowest, the highest sales, some statistic about the relevant suburb. So they get an email a month, sorry. If your database is not too big, you might do a letter in the mail once a month or once every couple of months. Now, obviously, you got all of the data. So if they're working with someone like yourself, then you can put those lists and link them to Facebooks and all of the digital sort of platforms, so they can get served some ads. So they see you on social, they see you in the mail, they see you in the email. And one thing that a lot of agents do is obviously phone calls. Now for me, and look, I'm not saying don't do phone calls, but it's always been more in line since the start of my career that people don't want to speak with people with accents. That's always got in my head. So I've kind of evolved that I haven't made a single phone call for 4 or 5 years to my database. And so what I used to do, I used to text them one by one, which is better than not getting in touch with them, but definitely time consuming. Copy paste, change the name, copy paste, change the name. And obviously now with Nurture that you are providing, that's the only Ben, this is the only prospecting that I personally do myself. And it's texting people with meaningful information based on a recent sale within the area. So now that you provide the service, I actually do it on a regular basis, on a weekly basis almost. And it's changed my business quite a lot, because I get a lot of interaction from it, and I get listings opportunity from people that if they didn't get a text from me, they might have texted or called someone else.
It's got another stat, and you might know the stat, the more accurate stat, but it was like, when someone sells with an agent, at that time, they have like 70 or 80% chance, like a likelihood that they're going to sell with that agent again. Their satisfaction, their client satisfaction is at its all-time highest at the sale. But the studies show that reality is 6 years down the track, it was only about 30 or 40% of those vendors used the same agent. So what happened between when they sold the house the first time to 5 years later? The difference was time happened, and probably lack of contact and communication over that time, which meant, it gave the opportunity for another agent to jump in and build a relationship with them. So I think there's a lot of opportunities there for agents to maintain and build on those existing relationships with their past vendors, because it's almost automatic business if it's managed correctly. What are your thoughts on that?
Couldn't agree more. I sell so many people properties that they're listed, they bought them through another agent, but they've been in my database for years because they might have requested a digital appraisal or whatever reason were in my database. And I send them a bottle of Prosecco every year on their anniversary. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know the percentage, but the majority of the previous agent that sold them into the house, they wouldn't send them a bottle of Prosecco on the anniversary, on the year, every year. And I do that for my whole entire database. Yes, it costs me tens of thousands of dollars, but at the end of the day, I am the agent they're going to call in, because the previous one, they obviously dropped the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And not everyone has to, might not be able to afford to spend that much money, but doing something is better than doing nothing, right?
Phone call, it will go a long way, right? For me, I'd rather get my PAs to drop off a bottle of Prosecco than doing 2,000, 3,000 phone calls a year for the anniversary. And it's got more meaning, a little present, they can drink it. It's whatever works for you, though. If you only got like 100 people in your database and you can't afford 100 bottles of Prosecco, well, about $1 scratchy for each, whatever that might be. There's plenty of things that you can do to be meaningful.
So doing it, what do you see? Where do you see? I think we even know the answer to this, but why do agents fail to convert those leads? Because I've seen agents that have got 2,000 people in their database. They've got their name, their email, their phone number, their address. Where are they failing? Is it just not following? Is it just not the consistency and nurture?
It comes down to that. You don't win them all, Ben, right? So, last week I had a pretty bad conversion week where I think I lost 60% of the appraisals that I went for. And I normally get 7 out of 10. So my conversion rate is 2 out of 3 I get. Last week was shocking for whatever reason. Was it a little bit off? Was it just a bit bad week? What I'm trying to say is that even at the top of your game, you're not going to win them all. But that is the biggest mistake, that people get compliance, or basically they get comfortable, right? And they go through, they get very busy and they stop doing their prospecting. And for me, it's always been like this. It's always gone up, because regardless of what I'm doing or how busy I am, my admin will always be doing those activities, those promotions, those prospecting behind the curtains that allows me to be in front mind of everyone. And obviously I use you, and I've been working together with you for years in terms of digital leads. And 1 month might be slightly better than another, but yeah, on a yearly basis, we get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of digital appraisal requests that go into my database, and they get all of everything that I talked about before. So yeah, it's a waste having a database that is not, the person in that database is not getting contacted, whereas through digital or directly 2 to 4 times a month, it's a waste.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And so I was just wondering, would you be able to share with us and share your screen and just show how you're using the text message system to like communicate and touch base with your database?
Yeah.
Just
You want me to share my screen, eh?
yeah, that would be great. Can you overtake it, or I'll hit stop sharing?
Yeah, I overtake it. Obviously, you asked me before, so it's not like this is, you asked me to do it before, so here it is. I actually haven't done it all week. I was filming for the TV show all week, but this is the interface, nurture. These are all the recent sales that are up here, and look, just simple.
We can't
Sorry?
see. We can just see your home screen. We can just
Oh,
see a guy doing ad crunches.
oh, that is my visual goal. Let me 1 second. Let me I think I did the wrong ones. Okay. That's my visual goal list. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, cool. So this is the nurture interface, and here is all the sales that recently happened. Now I'm just going to go and pick one in Royal Road in Messi. And these are all the opportunities that I can send them a text messages. Now you can customize the text message, and I change it every few months. But as you can see now on this side, you can see that the message says, "Hi, Mike. I hope this finds you well. 98B Royal, 3-bedroom home near to you has recently sold for 950." Now, this first paragraph, it's automatically generated based on the property that sold. And then I always put a little customization at the bottom. I know you're not looking to sell, but if you like more information on the sale, just let me know. Have a good day, Diego. Now, as you can see, guys, it's addressed to the person, it's going to the person, and I'm going to send enter, and it's sent. It's sent from my phone number. So if I get a reply, the reply will come to me. Now, yeah, I'll do another one. Same thing, Ben, sent. Now, as you can see, Ben, and anyone else that is watching, a lot of the time, well, this guy hasn't replied in donkeys. See how many messages I'm sending? And here's the biggest misconception. People think that because I don't get a reply, well, some people might assume that because I don't get a reply, that is a failure. No. The only time that I feel that I've not done a good job if they ask me to unsubscribe them. And I get that sometime from time to time. But most of the times, as you can see, not one of them has said, don't message me again. Actually, if anything, I'll call you back. So all of these messages, they're all kind of the same kind of templates that I've been sending using the Nurture app. And as you can see, man, I can do like, now I'm talking to you while I'm doing all of this. I can literally do one. It'll take me like, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, actually.
Yeah.
So you can actually do a lot of them very fast without actually giving too much thought on the process behind, because that it opens up the message, your conversation box on your computer that is linked to your phone. So if the previous message say don't send it to me again, I don't. And that's why I do this prospecting myself, because I truly believe that I need to know what the conversation previously with this particular vendor has been, because I might send it and realize that we talked about something, and I might not send them that particular text message. So or look, as you see, look, it's hand on my heart. This is the only prospecting I do myself, and I actually quite enjoy doing it because it's 3 clicks and it's sent out, and just made my life extremely easy.
And can you tell us a little bit about like what kind of results have you seen from this? Like might not be earth-shattering money, but like what's the type of feedback that you're getting?
The feedback that I get, the success that I get is that I get reply from people saying, that's interesting. I thought we'd have stalled for more. Perfect reply. All of a sudden, you can engage in a conversation, have a look at the property, understand a little bit the similarity versus the property of the vendor that texts you back, and then explain, start a conversation. So it's a conversation starter. Now, I'll be lying if I came here today and I said, people reply and say, come and list my house. Although I think it's probably happened, but obviously I had conversations with those vendors for quite a while. But you got to take this in consideration. This is a prospecting strategy to be relevant, on top of the mind to people that you previously appraised the property. And I'm assuming that when you do an appraisal, you're leaving saying, hey, if there is any relevant properties that sell around our area, I'll let you know. I always do that because that linked me to be able to do messaging like that, right? So it's very rarely I get someone saying, stop messaging me. Most people don't say anything. Some people say, thank you very much. Or they might comment around the property selling for less or more than what they thought, and that's a conversation starter. If they say thank you so much, I say you're welcome. That's all I'll leave it at. Just give, and if they're ready to engage, then you engage.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And we've got some questions coming in. I might answer those questions at the end, because we're coming up to the end of the half an hour. And Diego, I know you've got to go, and you might have other meetings to go to. But I really appreciate that. But the kind of what I would love people to take away, and I'm sure Diego, you agree with this, is that the more conversations that you have with someone, the more opportunities and opportunities for appointments that will come your way, and ultimately more listings and more income at the end of the day, right? But this nurture tool that you're using, it's just another tool in the toolkit for starting more conversations.
Yeah, really, that's what it is.
Conversation starter. And so that's kind of the special offer that I would love to share with everyone on this call. If anyone wants to use the nurture tool that Diego was showing you on the screen just before, basically, in a nutshell, this is what it does. It helps you ultimately build relationships so you can convert those leads into listings over time. It allows you to send personalized text messages from your own cell phone number that are relevant and tailored to that specific person, so you can build trust and rapport with them. Now, Diego was using it from his computer. Now, that's only the case if you have an Apple computer and an iPhone and you've synced it up to use iMessage. If you don't have an Apple or an iPhone and you don't have it synced it up, you just have to send it from your phone, and it's the same process. Super simple, super easy. All you need to do is upload the database into the Nurture platform, and then it'll automatically find relevant sales to the people that are on your database. And yeah, at the moment, I think I said, yeah, we've only got about 60 people across New Zealand using it right now. So it's very small, early days. You're going to be one of the first to be using it. So it's quite exciting as well. I didn't actually tell you about this, Diego, but remember last time we recorded a bit of a training program. We spent about an hour and a half on a call, just asking you lots and lots of different questions. We broke it into a little training course. So I thought anyone, if they've taken the time out of their day to join us on this webinar, I'll happily share with them the digital attraction agent program that we did. I did another social media training as well. That's also included on there as well. So anyone who's keen to sign up to the Nurture app, I'll happily share access to that digital program as well. So, but it caught you off guard there, Diego, but that's what we did with that. So
That's right, share the love.
10-day free trial usually, but until the end of the weekend, let's just say, happy to do a 30-day free trial for anyone. They can use it for 30 days completely free, and if they want to cancel, they can cancel anytime. So basically 30 days free trial. And I don't know about this, but I decided to do it anyway. I have a results guarantee. If you use the Nurture app weekly and you text people on your database using the Nurture app, if you use it for 12 months and you don't get at least one listing appointment, I'll give you the money back. That's how confident I am, because I've been talking to agents who have been using it and they've been getting appraisals and appointments out of it. So I know if an agent's consistently using it, every week, and they're sending messages monthly to the people on their database, there will be listing opportunities coming out of that. And so I'm so confident that I'll back it up with a guarantee. I'll give you the money back if you don't use it, if you don't achieve that. So I don't know whether I'll do it again, but that's how pretty confident I am on that one, Diego.
It works. I
Yeah,
know why you're confident. It works. Let's see if there is any questions before. Sorry, I'll let you go to the next page, but let me know if there is any questions as well.
cool. Okay, one question from Daniel before you go, Diego. If a property is sold, how does the system know who to send it to? Yeah, yeah.
So I'll say it again. If the property is sold,
Yeah. Basically, if the property is sold, how does nurture know who to send it to? Basically, the way it works is when you upload your data into the nurture app, you have to include an address, and that address will geotag where that person lives, and then you've got the sale, and it'll do say like a 1 kilometer radius of the sale, and it'll show you all of those people within that radius. And you can extend it from 1 kilometer down to 100 meters. You can extend the radius. So that's how that works there. But Diego, I think there's no other. Oh, there's a few more questions coming in, but I'm sure they're more based around the app. Yeah, that's a good question, Shale. But do you have anything else to share before you jump off? Because I know you've got to go.
no, genuinely, guys, look, at the end of the day, it's made my life easier. And if someone that's, someone that is selling, upwards of 200 properties a year for the last few years uses that, just give it a try. I mean, it's bloody free for a month. Give it a try. And yeah, you'll be surprised. And to be honest, I signed up the moment that Ben told me about it, and I don't even care how much it costs. It just makes my life easier, and that's all I care about. So please give it a try. Ben is the man when it comes with this kind of technology. And Ben, I thank you for everything what you do as well for my business. And I mean it.
Thanks, Diego. Have a good weekend.
All right. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Awesome. Well, it was great to have Diego on the call. So one more question, which is a very important question from Shale, is how secure is the data on the Nurture app? That's really a fair question. This is just like any CRM type system. The data is, we're using the top of the line tools to make sure this data is secured in a safe place. So that's, without a doubt, that's our number one priority, is data security. If you were to pause or cancel with us, your data is immediately removed from the platform. You own the data, and we send out a data confidentiality agreement to everyone as well, just to explain how we keep the data secure. And also, when you do, if you were to stop working with us, your data is automatically deleted. So you're the owner of the data. We're just the platform that provides the match between the sale and the sale and the person on your database. Feel free to hit me up with any other questions you might have in regards to that. If you'd like to give that trial a go, all you need to do is scan that QR code, and it will take you to the website where you can sign up for that trial. It currently says 10-day free trial, but anyone who signs up, like I said, within the next couple of days, I will extend that out to a 30-day free trial. Alternatively, you're going to get an email at the end of this with a link where you can sign up as well. All you guys need to do from an agent's point of view is export the database from your existing CRM and upload it via a link that we send out to you via email. And like I said, if you don't like it, you can cancel for free within the 30 days. Alternatively, it's $99 per quarter for 70 messages a month, or $149 per quarter. So every 3 months, you'll build $149, and that's unlimited text messages. So it's as cheap as chips in terms of the pricing. If you get one listing from it over 5 years of using it, it still pays for itself. So we've priced it as a kind of a no-brainer type offer. So yeah, that's basically the end of it today. If you've got any questions, like, there's my phone number there. You can give me a message, a text message, and we can always jump on a call. But other than that, thanks so much for joining Diego and I on this call. I'll send you out an email a little bit later with a link to sign up for the Nurture app. If you want to give it a free trial, 30 days, no problem. And like I said, there's that guarantee there as well. So thanks so much, guys. Have a great weekend. And we'll no doubt talk to some of you guys again soon. Cheers.